exciting session on the digital experiences and their impact on managing high-performance talent. Our session today will be led by Mr. Ahmed Mbabi, Oracle Regional Director, and Mr. Samer Hakiko, Oracle Principal Solution Engineer. Our speakers today will explore how digital experiences are crucial in managing high-performance talent, transforming the way organizations attract, engage, and develop their workforce. By utilizing tools such as AI-driven recruitment platforms, employee engagement apps, and virtual training environments, companies can craft, personalize, and immersive experiences that boost motivation and enhance performance. I encourage you all to think about your own experiences and insights. How can we leverage digital innovations to foster an environment that supports high-performance talent? Let's explore this together and share our thoughts. Please feel free to share any questions or comments you have in the chat box throughout the session. We will address the questions at the end. Thank you. Mr. Ahmed, the mic is yours.
Thank you, Oud, and good morning, everyone. Me and my colleague Samer are very pleased to be here with you today. And as Oud mentioned, please feel free to put all your questions on the chat. We're very much looking forward to receiving them, and hopefully we'll be able to address all of them. So Samer, would you mind please to kindly share the screen?
Of course. And here we go.
Thank you, Samer. Perfect. So in today's agenda, we'll be covering three pillars, main pillars. The idea is to take you through the journey. First pillar, we'll be focusing on nurturing high-performance talent. What does it mean, nurturing high-performance talent? Next, we'll be moving to the modern talent practices using smart technologies. How can technology help us to manage our talent? Last but not least, we'll also be looking at how do we craft elevated impact on business outcome? What does it mean to have high-performing talent aided by technology and the impact of these two on the business outcome? So shall we move to the first topic? Perfect. Thank you, Samer. So first point is around nurturing high-performance talent. To be able to do this, there are a couple of challenges that face all organizations, and we tried to summarize them here in these 3 or 6 pillars. One being the employee experience as number one. Second would be the limited career progression opportunities for employees to be able to grow and in organizations. Number 3 would be the reward and recognition, very limited reward and recognition opportunities. Fourth would be organization of turbulence and poor communication. Basically, how well do organizations communicate with employees? Following by that would be the limited learning opportunities. Last but not least is the misalignment of culture with the leadership style. We've tried to look at the different researches out there globally, and very interestingly enough, they found that 68% of employees would be lesser to consider leaving organization if the employee experience was positive. And when we say employee experience, this starts all the way from sourcing employees in terms of your job ads, recruitment process, onboarding, and so forth, all throughout the experience. So 68% of those people said that they will not leave organizations if they had a good employee experience. Moving into the career progression, the research also showed that 23% are not satisfied with the opportunities that they have in terms of growth within the organizations. They're very limited. And when it comes to reward and recognition, 28% said that they would definitely appreciate rewards from the first line manager. So this reflects the impact of the first line manager on employees' retention and satisfaction rate. As for communication, 88% of employees recognize the importance of transparency and making sure that decisions that do impact them are communicated, not necessarily for them to agree or disagree, but more of being informed. So informing is very key, i.e. communication, how we communicate to employees. In terms of limited learning opportunities, 86% of high-performing organizations effectively use learning to improve employee productivity. And learning is not just in terms of classes and sessions and seminars. It could be also on-the-job learning, extended projects and collaboration initiatives. Last but not least, when it comes to misalignment in culture leadership style, 17 times of employees said that they prefer managers' roles should include more coaching and mentorship. Again, guiding employees not only by giving them job descriptions or telling them what you expect them to do and putting them on training, but equally important, you need to coach and mentor them in terms of making sure that whoever needs support gets that support on a timely manner. Okay, Samer.
Before Ahmad, before we proceed, wouldn't it be great to also know from our audience or probably engage them with a quick poll just to see also their opinion about these kind of challenges and probably take from their perspective as well what kind of challenges and what kind of priorities they have in addressing some of these challenges as well.
This is great, Samer. I think that'll be really good if we can run that quick poll just for us to try to get the pulse, since we cannot see you, but at least get some idea of your expectations out of that session.
100%. So everyone on the call, can you please, using technology, scan that QR code, and hopefully, if technology doesn't fail me this time, you can have access to a poll of 3 questions where you can answer these questions. You'll be given options. And we've been a bit generous, out of, let's say, 5 answers, you can pick 2, let's say your top 2 priorities. So let us know once, you scan this QR code and have access to that quick poll. And Ahmad, you can also participate. We can,
Okay. Let me see what the technology is working on. So how many answers I can choose?
So 2.
2 only?
If I'm not mistaken, yeah, out of the 5 options that you will get in each and every question, you can choose up to 2.
Okay. Okay, I'm in now. So technology is working.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Now I need to read through this.
So we'll give it like a couple of minutes. And let me do one thing. Oh, yeah, we have participants. So far, we have 42. All right. For the second questions, we only have 10 responses and 6. Let's give it a couple of minutes before we switch back. And obviously, towards the end, we will, look at these results and, and drive, let's say, our conclusions, and recommendations, basically based on what you have shared with us through your answers in the poll. Okay, sure. All right, so 60 seconds to go.
سامر، ايه رايك نعمل البرزنتيشن ديول انجلش عربيك ونحاول كده يعني
اكيد
ميكس؟
اكيد انا
اوكي.
يعني اكيد. so بعتقد I'm just taking عم بتطلع على الشات. so Sheikh Abdullah said English. Let me just quickly open. English. So everyone is saying English, please.
English, okay. So what we'll do is I'll speak in English and then try to emphasize the message in Arabic, so at least we strike a balance, if that's okay.
Yeah, لا بس انه
نبدأ باللغة العربية العامية شوية، استبار اللغة العربية بتاعت ربنا يستر.
we have mixed responses. So we will mix. Obviously, we will speak in English, and يعني هيك every now and then we will throw in a few words in Arabic. We will try as much as possible not to, overcomplicate things or, sophisticate things in delivering the messages that we intend to. All right. ايه خليني بس شوف إذا بعد حدا بده وقت. Perfect. Both are okay with me.
How many so far the participants in the poll?
So participants في عندي خليني أشوف إذا I'm getting 97, 81, 74, which is not bad. يعني taking into consideration the number of participants who joined the call. يعني
Sure. Okay. I think we can move on. So we keep the. So we'll keep the results towards the end.
yes.
Just to give you time if you would like to continue participating. All right, thank you, Samir. So moving to our second pillar, which is modern talent practices using smart technologies, right? The strategy to be able to achieve high-performing team or talent through the ecosystem. Can we move to the next slide, please, if you don't mind, Samir? Thank you. So these are sort of what I would address as three pillars, right? There is the pillar of technology, there is the pillar of the process, and there is the third pillar of the policy. So pillar number one, technology, is how do we leverage technology in automating and scaling and standardization of our talent management tools or initiatives, okay? So this is how technology can play a part when it comes to managing our talent ecosystem. Number two, which is the automation of the processes, simplifying processes to remove redundant activities and drive innovation. This will have a direct impact on the productivity and equally also on the experience of our employees. There is a lot of processes that could be made redundant with the introduction of automation, right? And then when it comes to policies, when we look at people-centric policies, implementing policies that foster both employees' well-being and business outcomes with people as the central focus. So we put policies around people's engagement level and being able to be productive and to be able to address their needs, right? So just to simply in Arabic لو هنبص على الثلاثة pillars دول، احنا عندنا البيلر الاولاني او العمود الاولاني اللي هو بتاع التكنولوجي، اللي هو ان احنا ازاي نقدر نستخدم التكنولوجي بتاعتنا ان احنا تسمبليفاي ونسهل التعامل بتاعنا مع الايكو سيستم بتاع الموظفين. نمره اتنين اللي هي البروسيس، الاجراءات بتاعتنا، احنا ممكن نسهل الاجراءات بتاعتنا بدل ما يبقى 4 5 خطوات ممكن يبقى خطوتين. At the end of the day ده بيحسن من الانتاجيه وبيحسن من الخبره والتعامل بتاعت الموظفين في التعامل اليومي. اخيرا رقم 3 وهي البوليسيز بتاعتنا اللي هي السياسات بتاعتنا. السياسات بتاعتنا لو مبنيه حوالين الموظفين من ناحيه ان هي تقدر تقدم اللي مطلوب منها من سياسه ان هي تحمي وتوضح وفي نفس الوقت تقدر تخدم الموظف، هو ده هيبقى الالتيميت او الوضع المثالي ان تبقى اراوند الاكسبيرينس بتاعت الموظفين. Okay, and I think this gives me a good segue or good introduction to Samir, just to take this into what I would call a deeper dive, bringing a high-level let's say, discussions and theories into practice. Thamer will be kindly walking us through now what does that mean on the ground in real life. So Samer, لو تاخدنا through the journey
Of course.
الكلام ده على أرض الواقع شكله إيه؟ يعني خلينا نمسك حاجة تبقى قريبة لنا نفهمها أسهل. اتفضل.
أكيد I'll try as much as possible to do so. But again, to complement, what Ahmed said, if you look at the best practices, and look at the competitive landscape that we live in nowadays, the organization are now realizing that just relying on processes, policies, and probably skillful employees is not enough to unlocking this high performance ecosystem, but we really need to focus on the employee experience as well. And that basically, the way we see things is that everything needs to be revolving around the employees and their experiences throughout the technology that they're using to enable them to really, progress and achieve their goals. Well, around the employee experience, we can see, this framework of 5 essential pillars. Pillar number 1 is basically, accelerating this new hires speed to productivity, and then enabling, personalized communication. And then we want to make sure at least, we are transparent, we are really targeting the right audience whenever we are trying to take or engage with our employees in certain activities and actions. A third pillar is basically, being able to have the tools to self-manage our objectives. And at the end of the day, without clear objectives, we lose value, we lose, focus, we lose, the way forward and how we, set all of these expectations for our personal growth and, the driving the success of the organizations, eventually. And also, facilitating this kind of robust development planning and making sure that we have this culture of self-growth and learning within the organization. And last but not least, being able to have this kind of instant recognition, and recognition could really take different kind of shape and form. And usually people would associate recognition with a monetary value, but recognition could be anything, providing feedback, participating in certain programs, being the best in, conducting yourselves or holding, being true to the values of the organizations. And speaking about values, this is why you see around that specific framework, I have wrapped it around with 2 twin forces, basically, the culture and analytics. Because, see, leaders, they drive values, all right? And values drive behaviors. And, collective behaviors, they become the culture of the organization. And with that culture, you can basically drive performance within the organization. So we see culture basically embedded around every single step or every aspect of that specific framework or these 5 pillars. Because, at the end of the day, if you have this kind of culture of accountability, culture of innovation, culture of self-growth and learning. So this is all basically driven by the behaviors of your employees that will really, drive your talented employees in performing in the best way possible with clear and concise objectives. And obviously, the last point is analytics. Usually we look at analytics as basically, okay, it's dashboards, it's visualization. But what we actually miss is that, with the introduction of technology and the accessibility of technology, we are sitting on a huge amount of data. And the big question is, what can we do with this data? How can we leverage this data to ensure that we are really taking these kind of data-driven decisions? And that's why, I'd like to call it more of a data intelligence that will allow, leaders, employees, managers to be guided by the data that they see rather than to react by it. And obviously, I will be taking you through each and every pillar more in depth from a technology perspective, and what technology and how technology can basically help you in driving this high performing talent ecosystem. Ahmad, is there anything that you'd like to add? Anything from your own perspective?
Thank you. If you allow me, I just want to share my sort of my takeaway in Arabic, just to summarize, if you allow me. So الأخ سامر عمله هنا في مغزى أو في سبب من رسمة الدايرة، إن إحنا عايزين نوري إن ده continuous، يعني مستمر على طول. ده شيء مش بنعمله مرة وخلاص، يعني مستمر. ولو نلاحظ إن كله مرتبط ببعض، وفي قلب الدايرة الخبره بتاعت الموظفين بتاعتنا، البري اكسبيرينس، موظفينا شايفين الشركه ازاي، شايفين الكالتشر بتاعتنا ازاي، شايفين بنتعامل ازاي. فهي دايره اتس ان اون جوينج ليرنينج اكسبيرينس بوث اون ذا سايد، على جانب الشركه والمؤسسه وعلى جانب الموظفين. كلنا بنتعلم as we move on and this is how we formulate culture. culture ما هياش زي ما بيقولوا بنجيبها ونطبقها او بنعملها ونسيبها. لا، culture is how we evolve ونكبر مع بعض زي ما بيقولوا. يعني I just wanted to give that sort of brief, if you don't mind, Samuel, but thank you. I think the choice of the let's say the graph in terms of a circle, it has a lot of emphasis, so thank you.
Thank you, Ahmad. So let's take a deeper dive, just to at least look at it from a technology perspective and how it can help. So if we really start with the employee experience piece, usually organization prefer to use technologies that are easy to use. They have a nice graphical user interface. But sometimes they fall in that trap, seeing what's underneath the technology. What we really want to achieve here is to make sure that the underlying technology behind that graphical user interface and nice visuals and graphics, we have a future-proof technology. A technology that can evolve and that can be scaled up as we grow. يعني for example, as you've seen هون على هيك الميني فيديو that I played on that employee experience, I can access my application from a desktop or from a mobile phone. I can use a chatbot or a digital assistant to tap into any kind of activity. But like a year ago, we've seen this kind of attack on generative AI and Gen AI, the likes of ChatGPT, and how we can embed this in our applications, especially, if we talk from supporting us from an HR perspective. Because let's say we have an underlying technology that can allow us to innovate, this became more of an update that you can enable on your application and leverage later on and use quickly. So that's really important to, first of all, apart from the fact that we have a nice graphical user interface that really makes the employee experience seamless, and allow them to quickly access and tap into the different kind of activities they need, but also making sure that it evolves with them, and it's basically a reflection of whatever tools they are using in their personal lives. And this is something really important. And Ahmad, كمان في شغلة I'd like to give that example على موضوع employee experience. انه now as a consumer انا اذا هلا بروح بعمل shopping او بدي buy groceries، صرنا كلنا معودين على موضوع انه we can open الموبايل، نفوت على الاب، نطلب اللي بدنا اياه with a click of a button، بنعمل الطلبيه وبندفع كل شيء. ف these kind of activities they became the norm فهالconsumer هيدا he's also an employee working in the company. So their expectation also is that their organization will provide them with at least, same set of tools, same experience, حتى يقدروا to adopt, these applications and really basically tap into these applications and use them in the best way possible and increase that adoption. For the application that we offer at, organizational level should be nothing but an extension to our personal life and personal experience.
بالظبط زي ما تفضلت يا سامر. لازم نواكب العصر، يعني ما ينفعش الواحد يبقى بره المكتب اي حاجه عايزها على طول من الموبايل. النهارده ما ينفعش واحد يخرج من البيت من غير موبايل، يعني ممكن اي حاجه تانية مش مهم الا الموبايل. اي معلومه عايزها، اي حاجه عايزها من الموبايل. فتخيل برضو النهارده يبقى زميلك في المكتب او الموظفين يقدروا اي معلومه عايزينها بسيطه، رصيد اجازات، عايز اشوف الاوبجكتيفز بتاعتي، عايز اشوف اي حاجه، مش لازم ابعت ايميل، مش لازم اروح المكتب الزميل او اخبط على الباب او اكلمه في التليفون، على طول وانا قاعد. فالكونفينينس ده مهم جدا زي ما تفضلت، ان احنا يبقى all around us it's about the experience. نرجع تاني الامبلوي اكسبيرينس. ما ينفعش ان احنا يبقى في ديسكونكت، دخل المكتب رجع let's say 3 4 سنين او 10 سنين ورا او العكس. فاكيد طبعا. شكرا يا سامر.
And also يعني هذا كمان فينا اربطها ب one of the points that you mentioned earlier around, simplifying the process, making clear policies in terms of how we can leverage technology and embed seamless or let's say light processes on top of it. هلا النقطة الثانية in my framework or that continuous wheel هي how can we accelerate this new higher speed to productivity? Okay, we need to make sure we have this kind of seamless transition من the time we are seen as a candidate to the time that we become a new employee. Okay, by really communicating clear tasks to everyone involved, not just the candidate or that new hire, but everyone in that organization will be able to participate with clear set of tasks that he needs to complete to make sure that experience for that new hire is really a pleasant experience. And usually, we always hear these stats around the fact انه من اول اسبوع انا فيني اخذ فكره اذا رح طول بهالشركه ولا لا based on my experience during the first week. All right. If my experience is bad, it could probably give me an outlook into the future. And you know what? Maybe it's not the right place for me. Okay. So small things, really small things could impact, me as an employee, could impact my morale, maybe my motivation into basically going in there and performing the best way possible. This kind of, speed to productivity is best represented when everyone is accountable for, making sure that these new hires are, given the right kind of attention and welcome basically into the organization based on their experience. Yes, Ahmad?
Sorry, something comes up to mind, sorry, Samer, which is first impression counts, right?
Exactly.
We in general, me myself included, with every new role or new organization I joined, I had this level of anxiety, right? Want to prove my best ability to be on top of things from day one. If everything is set in a way to make me successful and make me at ease, is definitely welcomed. فهو ده الدور of الonboarding. We're using technology, simplifying things will always have a positive impact علينا كلنا, regardless in which level of the career are we in, juniors, seniors, whatever, regardless. Thank you.
100%. Which basically brings us to the next, important thing, which basically, sometimes we take it for granted is, communication, creating this kind of contextualized, personalized communication. Okay. Obviously, when we say communication within the ecosystem of that framework, or high performing talent, it's not just about sending them reminders or some instructions on completing certain tasks, but also to be able to track and monitor the engagement level, all right, and also to have this kind of luxury of targeting audiences with really personalized communication. فهي كل الفكرة انه انا what I can do with communication is far more than just sending out reminders, but it's basically it basically allows me to really drive engagement and behavior from my employees and from my talent within the organization. So أنا for instance إذا في عندي let's say I want to work on a succession plan or a development program. So I can literally, start this with, a clear communication to be sent out to these, let's say, targeted audience. And from there on, I can, based on the interaction, I can drive this communication with, more activities, more actions. And, as we exchange these kind of let's say interactions, it becomes more and more clear for me, let's say, first as an individual, what is expected of me, and second, as someone working in the HR department, this is working for us. We are able to be aligned on the objectives that were set for us to complete a certain kind of activity.
Samer, just wanted to comment. There is one comment on the chat that there is a lot of questions that needs to be answered. So as Wout mentioned at the beginning, we promised to answer all the questions at the end, and hopefully we'll not be able to miss anything. So we're trying to capture them as we move on, because some questions might be repeated. So we want to make sure that we give you a comprehensive and answer as much as possible. Thank you, Samer, please.
All right. And next, with those digital tools, basically, when we talk about the third point in our pillars or framework, is basically being able to self-manage your objectives. Take that kind of culture of accountability and making sure that you have the right tools to set your objectives. But not just, setting your objectives, but also to have this kind of continuous performance where you can regularly check in with your manager, capture any comments, any coaching from your manager. But also, we do understand that whatever objectives that sometimes are set at the beginning of the year, these could change. لأنه at the end of the day, I might be part of multiple, let's say, teams, or might be working on multiple projects, or I might have some personal, challenges at home that could distract me from really achieving these objectives. For checking in with my manager and really, reassessing, probably the priorities sometimes of the business, and probably tracking or monitoring, my progress throughout the year and not just, point in time, is really important for us to drive, performance within the organization. And this is something, high performers and top talents within the organization would really appreciate. It would motivate them and would always keep them connected and true to the objectives of the wider picture, the enterprise, the organization. Ahmed, anything on that front?
No, thank you on that. And maybe I'll just add it in simple Arabic words. بيقولوا إن نترك الحديد وهو ساخن. فبمعنى لو أنا عندي regular check-ins مع المدير بتاعي على objectives، لو عندي clarity بعملها بدري، باخد feedback on the spot feedback. الفيدباك البايت عفوا في العاميه في اللغه ملوش فايده، لان بيتقلب الرد الفعل بيبقى دفاعي لان الواحد بيشوفه هجومي. لكن في ساعه الموقف الواحد بيبقى اوبن ان يقدر يسمع وبيبقى الموضوع فريش، فبيقدر يبقى فيه حوار بيتم. فاجين this type of engagement or tools help us to make sure that we're on top of things are clear, and I have it at the tip of my hands, as they say. I have control. I have to do what I need to do. In return, I will receive recognition, award, or acknowledgement, as expected from the organization.
And something also I would like to add, and again, part of the objective of today's session is to really see how can technology help, right? Apart from making sure that we have the right tools available to us to conduct all of these activities. كمان بدي ارجع لموضوع الchat GPT والgenerative AI. One of the things that we've seen basically introduced as part of being able to self-manage the goals, to use ChatGPT or generative AI basically to draft for me smart goals, right? And one of the main challenges sometimes to adopt a solution or to use a certain application, you know what, I really don't know how to write a goal. I need assistance, and it takes time and it drags. And then you say, you know what, forget about it. I'm not going to enter it in the system until you receive a reminder and so on and so forth. With technology, again, with the introduction of these kind of AI capabilities, we can actually get a digital assistant that will draft for us a smart goal that could support us in crafting or putting together objectives for the year. Okay. أكيد fourth point is basically develop creating or crafting this kind of clear pathway for your career growth through digital learning and accessing different kind of learning resources. All right. Usually we all know that if I want to improve a specific skill, probably I need to take certain courses or attend webinars or okay. But what we also want to know is we want to visualize our career path. We want to understand our role within the organization and see exactly, okay, what are my options? If I want to grow vertically, what do I need to do? If I want to grow horizontally, what do I need to do? So all of these kind of, assistance and recommendations that I get, from these technologies, from the application, could really help me take control of my career within the organization and really, craft a clear pathway for my career growth. And that's, something that at the core of, every employee's development plan, to be able to really, understand what kind of set of skills they need, but also for the role, but also it's also equally important for HR department and the organization to understand what kind of or set of skills their employees have that are not being used because of their role, so that probably we can leverage them in different projects instead of probably hiring people from outside. So this kind of visibility, both ways, whether I'm someone working in the HR and understanding the skills available within my company is equally important as as an employee who is looking at the role and trying to understand, okay, what kind of skills I need to enhance and what kind of learning I need to take to close any gap I may have in my development journey.
أحب أضيف حاجة معلش سامر بعد إذنك. If we look at the screenshot in front of us, I don't know if you've noticed, but just under the picture there is something called career statement, and this is to me I think this is the key. زي ما تفضل سامر قال، إحنا لما بنيجي طلب مننا نكتب objectives أو نكتب أي حاجة بنقعد نفكر جدا كتير إنها تبقى perfect، فبالتالي ما بنعملهاش أو بنأخرها. من الحاجات برضو اللي احنا يعني كلنا including myself بتبقى difficult قوي ان انا عايز اكبر وعايز اتطور وعايز اترقى. طب عايز تعمل ايه؟ عايز ما بعرفش بيقولوا ايه احدد الشيء اللي انا عايزه. فاكشلي انا بقعد واكتب الكارير ستيتمنت بتاعتي واقراها واشوفها واقعد اعدل واطور فيها. This is a great opportunity. يعني ان الواحد يقدر يايدنتيفاي هو عايز يعمل ايه. This is I think crucial. وفي نفس الوقت it's going to be documented. I can track it, my manager can track it, my senior management can see it as well. So maybe they can assign me somewhere else. لو انا ممكن انا اكون في المكان الغلط بس عندي aspirations وابقى اكبر في حتة تانية. كارير ستيتمنت دي مهمتها ان هي بتكونكت الدوتس. يعني انا الكواليفيكيشنز بتاعتي اكس، مديري شايفني اقدر اتطور في الاكس زائد واي، وانا الكارير ستيتمنت بتاعتي عايز تبقى اكس واي وزي فور اكزامبل. الدسكشن بتتم هنا الاكسبكتيشنز بتاعتي افيلبل نوت افيلبل، نقدر نعمل ايه عشان نتطور. ف this is one of the small things but it has a huge impact. The ability to document and write things for you to be able to see. I think this is great.
And after basically looking at how we can set these goals, work on those goals, making sure that we achieve our objectives throughout the year. Employees would expect instant recognition, okay? And this basically, and how technology can help us, in the sense that you may have the policies in place on how to reward and recognize employees, and you'll have the processes in place, but how can we automate them? How can we really bring in all of this information together so that we take very objective kind of or data-driven kind of decisions to reward employees instantly based on their performance. Okay, so these kind of tools that are sitting there available, being able to be fed through different kind of inputs will help us, quickly recognize employees, reward them, and make sure that their performance did not go unnoticed throughout the year. Again, another boost of morale for these employees. And this will give you this sense of, that we have a positive culture where the high performers, they feel valued and motivated to continue contributing at their best.
خلينا نتخيل زي الحصاله. يعني انا قدامي الحصاله بفتحها واشوف البروجريشن بتاعي، فدايما تبقى فيها بيسموها بتدي سيلف استيم، بتدي كده يعني الواحد بيريكوجنايز ويبقى فخور بنفسه لما يخش ويشوف الريكوجنيشنز اللي خدها على مدار الكارير بتاعته، او الريكوجنيشن that he aspires to achieve، فمحتاج يعمل ايه. فنرجع تاني للحاجه الفيجوال الملموسه تانجبل، دايما بيبقى الامباكت بتاعها اقوى بكتير عن ما بتكون في الذاكره وبتتنسي طبيعي. يعني مش عن قصد اكيد يعني.
And Hone, we will start talking about, the twin forces of culture and analytics. Probably one of the questions you might ask, okay, how can I digitize culture? Okay, and usually, if I walk into any organization, all right, or أي هيئة أو أي enterprise, usually the culture and mission are written on the walls as a backdrop. Okay, for us, that every time we walk into the building, we are reminded of the culture and values and the mission of the organization. But how can we digitize this? How can we incorporate this into our digital experience? Okay, and that's where again, through the use of technology and the tools that we have, we can basically track or initiate these kind of activities. Basically, a culture of, as I said, personal growth, a culture of taking accountability, communication, transparent communication. For Hone, I can basically visualize, all right, this kind of implementation of my culture through technology. And as we can see in that graph, I can see, it's nothing but a representation of the interaction between me and my manager in terms of, recognition kind of talks, feedback, checking in, from time to time. For Hone, I can basically see, how I'm able to really create and be true to that culture and to the behaviors that contribute that culture into the system by seeing, the different kind of activities that are being done or interactions that are happening between, a manager and his direct reports. And that's, again, something that is becoming more and more important to drive and to make sure that, our high-performing talent are always aligned and always coached to achieve and to deliver their best within the organization. Last but not least is basically, analytics. Again, earlier, and I said that we are sitting on, a huge amount of data, okay? Data intelligence is crucial for us to be guided by the business. Now, at the end of the day, we are really through the use of technology, we are really capturing a lot of information. We have information around the employees, their skills, their profiles, their experience, the different kind of interactions that are happening on a day-to-day basis. All right. For all of this information, what can we do with it? How can we leverage it? And data intelligence not only can report on this data, but can also, give us certain, predictions into the future. For instance, if I don't take certain actions, what will happen in the future? Will I continue, let's say, losing talent? Or probably, stay, as a status quo, nothing will change. For all these kind of, visualization will help you, take data-driven decisions to make sure that you are retaining your top talent and making sure that you are, creating, or bridging any kind of gap that may be available within your talent workforce.
One thing I want to add, if you allow me, Samer, on this, and I just need the audience just to visualize this with me. So it goes without saying that we need to do things that can be sustained, right? We're an organization, we want to grow, we want to continue delivering and aspiring to serve our customers. This is sustainability, right? For us to be able to deliver against this sustainability initiative or vision, you need to have data that is captured and you keep on going back and checking that data as you move on, right? There's a huge difference between making decisions on the spot without proper, let's say, information or data to support, and actually making decisions on sound decisions based on data analytics that you can always review and check, right? So it's very important that analytics is for long-term sustainability to make sure that you, A, communicate what you're doing is based on merit, B, people get to actually have a role and a part to play in those decisions moving forward, because we all contribute to this data. Thank you, Samer.
And this basically, brings it to an end in terms of, that framework and this continuous kind of life cycle of an employee through these pillars that we just went through. Ahmad, should we look at the poll results and try to see, what impact, implementing these kind of modern practices could have on the business? What? Ahmad, can you hear me?
Sorry, I was on mute.
Yeah, sorry. I lost you again.
Now you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so technology is not really happy with me today, so.
So I was saying, should
Yes,
we share the poll results before we look at, how these, let's say, best practices and technologies could really help impact, the business outcome. So if we just look at the the first question was, what is your organization's biggest challenge in retaining high-performing talent? So we can see that, let's say top two were lack of career progression opportunities and limited recognition and reward programs. The reason why you see a big smile on my face, because again, this is really a common thing, and this is basically based on my interaction with different organizations. Probably these are the two the most talked about in any organization, is the lack of career progression opportunities and limited recognition and reward programs. Ahmed, what do you think?
I cannot disagree or agree more. This is spot on, as they say. So I share the smile, and I thank God I'm not on mute. So
The second question was, which area of talent management do you think has the most potential for improvement with technology? And so employee experience and engagement, and performance management and recognition. So this is where we can see, some potential for improvement with technology.
I'm very happy to see this, especially performance management and recognition being number one, because again, there is a huge difference between performance management being a tick box exercise اللي هو احنا بنعملها مرتين في السنه او 3 مرات اول السنه ونص السنه واخر السنه، وفي بعض الشركات بتعملها اخر السنه وخلاص. That's not a tick box exercise. Performance management recognition is ongoing. تمام. Recognition مش شرط ان انا برقي او مش شرط ان انا بدي بونص. Recognition could be with exposure. مديري يطلب مني بريزنت حاجه عملتها قدام زمايلي، قدام سينيور مانجمنت. Recognition ممكن ان انا مديري يطلب مني ان انا lead a project، يطلب مني ان انا اقترح حاجه. Recognition is endless. There are so many ways to recognize people. So I'm very happy to see that we all acknowledge that we need to move away from the tick box exercise into something actually of value, tangible.
And by the way, if you look at the results, personalized learning and development to communication and collaboration, they were actually close to each other as well. You look at the entire ecosystem, we have this kind of equal interest, or let's say potential for improvement through the use of technology for all fronts of our high-performing talent ecosystem framework that we discussed. And the last question is, what would you consider the biggest benefit of implementing a high-performing talent ecosystem? So number one was increased productivity and efficiency. I couldn't agree more. Again, this is something that will obviously help us really increase productivity and efficiency. And probably that whatever came number two, it was actually close between stronger alignment with organizational goals and enhanced collaboration and innovation.
Again, I'm very happy to see productivity and efficiency, because this is actually the core of everything we're doing.
Okay. So with that said, probably we can look at the impact of implementing a high-performing talent ecosystem. Ahmed?
Sure, thank you, Simon. So as Simon mentioned, so basically what we're trying to do or achieve with this slide is to envision together the impact of high-performing talent ecosystem in any organization. We try to make it simple and again address them through 5 pillars here. And we'll try to walk you through it. But what's interesting is that after seeing the poll results, Samer, we can actually see a match. So, which is good, that it's a good way to wrap up and summarize things. So the first pillar we have here is as you can see, it says achieve efficiency in core operations - limit bureaucracy, which is in simple terms efficient decision making, right? So a high-performing talent ecosystem empowers employees to make decisions faster reducing the need for layers of approvals and administrative bottlenecks. Okay, so this is very key, and I believe we all can relate to this. Also, streamline processes, right? So smart technologies simplify workflows, enabling departments to collaborate more easy, more fluid, more agile. Will eliminate زي ما قلنا في الأول, eliminate redundant steps that are of no value. Okay, an example could be digital tools for performance management. As we all see, performance management is key. So, and learning how allow employees to track their progress and take necessary actions willingly if they need to enhance and improve any specific task. Also empowering employees. So by focusing on autonomy, on automation, employees take greater ownership of their responsibilities, reducing reliance on micromanagement. Again, not waiting for my manager to tell me what to do, what I have done. I'm taking ownership of my own performance and work. So that helps a lot to make sure that we flatten the hierarchy and improve responsiveness within the teams in terms of collaboration. Second pillar, when we come and talk about enhanced employee productivity, optimized performance. So it's continuous feedback mechanism. Again, going back to the performance automation of performance management tool, continuous feedback mechanism and AI-powered performance tracking. Employees have clear visibility into their goals and productivity. They're not anxious anymore of how does my manager see me? How does my manager evaluate my performance so far, right? It's there, I can see it. I can, at any point of time, rate myself, where do I stand against my objectives, 100%, 50%, 60%, whatever that would be. An example, again, just to make it more simple for all of us, that the police can receive real-time feedback on project milestones. زي ما كنت بقول استخدمت المثل بتاع اللي هو حاجة تبقى fresh and out of the oven, fresh زي ما بيقولوا على طول, immediately receive feedback. That's key. And then the third pillar, which is achieve organization mandate with the highest quality standards, data-driven decision-making. With data analytics-driven decision-making processes, organizations can maintain high-quality standards by focusing on outcomes that matter the most. So this will help us to know what actually would have an impact, what actually are people looking for. So this is what I mean by saying that matters most. An example could be predictive analytics can help us. كان برضو ثامر تفضل وقال in this we can predict things with the tools, with the automation of tools. So predictive analytics can help us pinpoint performance gaps, enabling corrective actions to maintain the highest quality of service and delivery. This could be on an individual perspective and also could be across the team. So this will help us to predict if my whole team will not be able to deliver, not just one individual team. So predicting and be able to quickly engage in finding the right actions to resolve, this is all for the benefit of the organization. And then moving to optimizing cost that would reduce redundancy. By leveraging technology for resources allocation, where do we put the number of people, how many number of people I should place here in this function versus that function on that project, or in this territory, or in this location. This will help us to make sure that we make the right decisions, to make sure that we're not underutilizing our resources. An example could be productive analytics can highlight underused resources and relocate them where they can make the most impact. Okay. And this could also have an impact on reducing the cost of running the operation. Okay. For example, an AI-powered payroll system can manage payments and compliance checks, reducing the need for large HR team members to be dedicated for manual tasks and actually have them focus on something that is more of value to the organization. And then moving to the last one, which is improving collaboration, drive collaboration through connected ecosystem. Technology platforms enable cross-functional collaboration by providing real-time communication and collaboration tools, ensuring all employees are aligned towards the same objective. I think we've touched on this earlier also with Thamer on the slides. An example could be a cloud-based project management tool, okay, that allows teams across different locations to work together efficiently and stay updated on the project's progress. So we don't have to meet in the office to get the update. We don't need to jump on a Zoom call to get the update. having such AI-powered tool will help us at any point of time be able to log in, check in the progress, check where I am late, check where I am delivering at as expected, or if there is any feedback. So with this, I hope we managed just to give you a flavor, a very high level of how technology impacts us and organizations, and also how can drive a high-performing talent ecosystem. Samer, do you wanna comment on anything before we move to the questions?
Nothing from my end. Just within the interest of time, we can probably move to the questions and open it up for the audience to ask their questions, because I can see from the chat there's a lot of questions, and let's give them the chance to at least interact with us.
Okay, so I tried as much as I can to capture all the questions. Hopefully, I'll be able to do so. There is one question that I think, let's start with that one, which is, that says, would you please compare Oracle Inspire versus Oracle HCM Fusion?
So Oracle Inspire, and obviously, this is based on the different kind of interactions that we do with our clients. Inspire is always a tool that we use to show you what's coming up in the future. So first of all, just to make it clear, Oracle Inspire and Oracle HCM Fusion, they are the same. So there's no differentiation. If you have seen Inspire, Inspire will always include what will be released in the future, and it will give you this kind of sense and feeling of what Oracle is working on, and what kind of new capabilities or innovation Oracle is trying to introduce in the coming 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. But they're actually the same kind of tools or applications. All right?
Thank you. And thanks for the question. I think that's a good observation. Thank you. There is another question that says, as per my understanding, and as per what we saw in the previous presentations, it can deal with skills data, for example, to serve the management meetings. If I understood the question correctly, the purpose of data is to facilitate decisions, right? And to facilitate discussions. Before decisions, we need to facilitate a discussion. Obviously, a data guided or data backed up discussion is more valuable in terms of time invested, and at the same time making sure that we will again have a sustainable way forward, making sure that we're always based on merit. So if I understood correctly, the question, yes, data is used to facilitate those type of meetings and decisions. Samer, do you want to add something to that?
Yeah, and I'll just add, because if let's say the question was revolving around being able to gain access to the skills available within the organization, okay, that information could be looked at into 2 different categories. The first one is, first of all, each and every employee will have to create a profile of him. So like you create your LinkedIn profile, and you put your experiences and the skills that you have and everything. And the second part is, let the system, along with its, intelligence, recommend for you skills that could complement your role. So yeah, this is where I can see, skills data could come of use, especially if it comes in correlation with, the key objectives of your role and your job profile and the job description. So all of this information bundled together could really give you this kind of clear visibility, clear understanding of what kind of skills do I have and what kind of skills do I need to develop.
Yep. Okay, I'm just scrolling through the question. There are some questions that we can combine the answer. So just bear with me for a second instead of going and repeating the questions. So if we start, I think that question covers other questions that were also raised, is how can companies ensure their engagement strategies effectively motivate and retain high performers? Okay. Samer, I'll give it a go, and please feel free to.
Yeah, sure.
So if I look at the question, basically companies can effectively motivate and retain high performers by aligning engagement strategies with the need and aspirations of those employees, right? This can be through personalized development plans, which we've already touched base on. So if you look at people's requirements, what do they need to develop? This will also help. Recognition and rewards is key. You know, regular, specific recognition, both formal and informal. This could be monetary and non-monetary. We can also look at empowerment and giving people or high performers the ability to be empowered to lead, to make decisions, to lead teams, to be assigned at projects. This is type of empowerment also will have a great impact. And also, we also mentioned on communication. So making sure that we have feedback, right? So establish a feedback channel so that we can always go back to those high performers and make sure that their ideas are heard and are valued, and actually, you know, they're dealt or acted upon. I don't know, Samer, if you wanna add something to this.
No.
I tried to capture it. So
yeah, nothing from my end.
okay. There is another question that says, how do you measure the impact of digital experience on employee performance and satisfaction? Okay. Again, there's a couple of ways to do that. There is the employee surveys and pulse check-ins, right? You know, the annual surveys, and obviously those ones you can always tailor from one year to another. I mean, tailor the questions. But this is one way of being able to achieve that. Again, we mentioned performance data, right? So we need to link performance metrics with, you know, with the digital adoption rate. So we need to look at, we introduce tools to the organization. How many of our people are using those tools, right? That will give us an indication. Is it an issue of people ability to use the tool? Or is it an issue of us not communicating to the organization that we have those tools and how they can benefit? Or is it basically that there is of no value, right? It's just, you know, people are not seeing the value and they want something else. So it's very important to understand, you know, when we introduce tools and technologies, how are people using it? How are they benefiting from it? So we can always be in that enhancement mood, right? Technology in itself, the minute we engage in technology, we're already in the enhancement mode as we move on. Every day we check, what can we do better? What can we do better? And again, analytics is key because it makes us analyze the status, you know, what's happening on the ground, and giving us in the format of visuals, graphs, numbers, comparisons, again, to give us a platform to be able to base our decisions and projects on. Samer, do you want to add something on that?
No, actually, I mean, again, you've said it all. The surveys really capturing those kind of inputs from an employees through surveys and having this kind of feedback loop mechanism is important. But you know, probably, Ahmad, one thing I would add on top of what you said is also to take action as a result of these kind of surveys and you know, those tracking or monitoring tools. Because, you know, you can launch a survey once, twice, 3 times and capture information. But if, you know, HR department really don't take any actions, this is where you start losing that engagement and losing the interest of your employees participating in any kind of engagement or interaction.
That's a very good point you're bringing there, Samer. And also, you know, because engagement is key, but also retention, as we mentioned. But
Yes.
How do we mention retention is obviously things like data we collect, things like, you know, why are people leaving us?
Yeah.
Okay. And trying as much as possible have those exit interviews of value, i.e., we need to know what type of questions we're asking, and we need to verify the responses, and more importantly, what are we going to do with the response, right? So if people say, oh, we're not happy because of career progression, full stop, that's not sufficient, right? We need to understand, dig more, where they are in their career. What were they exposed to? What was their performance? What type of discussions they had? What type of agreements or plans were they? So we need, the more we invest in collecting data, the better we'll have as a result. So this is the type of information and data that we're looking for, data that will help us make the right decisions. Then we have another question that says, how can organizations balance technology and personal interactions in their talent management strategies?
I think when they say personal interaction, it's more around probably the offline interactions that happens.
I think, and it could be, is like, because there is always this fear around technology coming and replacing human beings, right?
Yeah.
So I always, when I always get asked that question, you know, simply tools, technology are there to facilitate a transaction, right? As a tool to help us do things, but not to make decisions. Okay. The example that Samer kindly used at the beginning, which is if I need to write my performance document, objectives, we invest a lot of time as human beings in trying to being perfect. What will be the right terminology? What will be the smart objectives? We invest a lot of our time and energy trying to formulate one objective. So first reaction, we push it to the side. I'll do it later when I'm in the right mood, in the right spirit, early morning after my fresh coffee. So we keep on pushing things. The technology comes here and helps us in making sure that, you know what, I'll give you a starting point. So I'll save you the energy to invest time, between brackets, wasting time in trying to be a perfectionist, because we'll never be perfect 100%. And I'll give you something to start from, right? I'll give you the basics of an objective statement. Then you fill it in with what actually you're expected to do and what you actually can do. This is where your individual value comes in. And that's where the human engagement, involvement will always remain to be key. You know, at the end of the day, you cannot ask a tool to be empathetic, right? Performance management. Yes, I'm going to document that Ahmed did good and bad, but I know Ahmed better. I can show empathy to Ahmed. I can show an understanding as a human being. I can relate to Ahmed's pain. I can relate to Ahmed's happiness, you know, celebrations. This will not be replaced by machines, no way, right? And we need to be very clear, okay? We need to utilize and we need to manage technology to help us and serve us, not the other way around, okay? So instead of investing an hour to write an objective, give it to ChatGPT in 2 seconds. Super. I will focus on the rest of the hour to make it a quality, objective, smart. I'm going to be proud of what I achieve. Okay. There's one question here also. How do virtual training environments enhance the development of top talent in your organization? All right. That's a very good question. If I understood correctly, when we say virtual training environment, you mean, I think the person is asking is saying that, you know, not face-to-face classrooms and, you know, going out of the office and attending a session, if I understood correctly.
I have a mixed feeling about that. Because again, you know, it's a valid question. It's a really important question. And, you know, and to answer like a consultant, you know, it depends. Because on one hand, you want to have this kind of flexibility while learning and developing. And this is what, you know, a virtual training environment could give you. You know, you could be, you know, probably sitting anywhere, accessing this kind of material, interacting with your coach or mentor or the trainer, and have this kind of, you know, using all of these kind of digital tools. But sometimes what you'd miss in that experience is the human interaction, you know, the physical kind of interaction, the face-to-face, networking with other people and so on. So I would say that, you know, always having these kind of blended modes or having a platform that will allow you to have this kind of blended kind of learning and training environment could really help and enhance the experience in developing talent, so that probably the things that requires you to be in a quiet place and focused, you can probably finish it through an online or virtual kind of environment. But the things that require us to be working in groups and interacting with one another could probably be happening in a physical place where we can see each other face to face. So really blending it, mixing it, and having this kind of blended mode program could really help us in getting the best out of these training programs.
I totally agree with you, Thamer. And again, just if you take a step back and visualize this as virtual training is one of the offerings, right? Not the offering.
Exactly.
Then we'll be in a better position to manage, and as they say, نوظف الشيء ده ينفعنا. And I would make it benefit me. So virtual training, in my view, Ahmed, personally, would be that I can take it at my own pace, right? I can take it whenever I feel comfortable. I'm in the right mood. I had my coffee, I had my breakfast, lunch, whatever. So it's at my own discretion. On the other side, I miss the engagement, the interaction, talking to someone human, sharing an experience, sharing a challenge. And the fact that I feel I'm not alone in this world facing a certain challenge in itself, this is very rewarding and very of high value. So thank you for this, Hammer. I'm receiving more questions. So there is one here that says, maybe somebody can help me out with one that says, if I want to, it says or I'm not sure, is it delivery or dive into the subject, which certification you would recommend, and the issuer, between brackets, not CIPD or SHRM as in general. I mean, Samir, is there a certain certification required to be able to deal with those tools? I mean, to be able to use those tools that we spoke about?
There are actually, one of the things that we do, I mean, we have our Oracle University portal, okay? And there are certain courses, depending on the audience, depending on your level of interest. So if you are looking at it from a business user perspective, there are certain trainings that would target these set of users. If someone is more looking at it from an admin perspective, or someone who would like to implement it, so you can have access to these courses through Oracle University across the different pillars of the application. Whether you are interested maybe only in learning and trying to explore all the kind of technologies and capabilities available in learning or performance management. They are all available in the Oracle University portal. I hope, I mean, this could help in answering the question, but I don't know, Ahmad, is there anything, at least from business perspective, because in the question they said not CIPD, not HIDAP, I'm not sure if there's anything else to look at or consider.
I mean, again, to me, if you're asking about certification, is someone, in my view, humble opinion, be someone to be officially certified to, engage those tools in other premises, right? But if I'm an employee within an organization, I don't need the certification, right? I need my experience, because the value of me as an employee using those tools is based on my experience, my requirements, my tasks, and my challenges, right? So there is no certification required here. Certification, in my humble opinion, will be only required if you're asked to go and develop, if you're asked to tailor, to recommend.
Yeah.
This is probably where you need something as of a heavy body to support you. Otherwise, I don't see any need at all. On the contrary, I would say even your experience using those tools will probably be more beneficial for organizations than just, with my respect, a certificate, because it's going to be a real-time experience. زي ما بنقول بالعربي بنشمر ايدينا وننط نشتغل على طول. In English, rolling our sleeves and just jumping into the work. So I would say this is where the real value is. Mindful of the time, I'm just going to quickly check. I think there is one here. Also need your help there, Samer. They say, as per my understanding and as per what we saw in the previous presentations, it can deal with skills data, for example, to serve management meeting. Oh, we've covered that. Sorry,
We
not this
covered
one.
this. We covered
Sorry,
this.
sorry. I'm getting old, guys, right? So one second. I've covered that one as well. Okay, going back to digitalizing culture. What kind of data is collected and used by technological tools for this purpose?
Ona, usually what we do and how we approach things, basically, okay, we created a place where you can create programs that that embodies these kind of cultures and values, okay. And as a result of these programs created within the application, let's say, for example, you're trying to create a culture of innovation, a culture of empathy and well-being, and so on and so forth. So what we've done is that we have digitized, that process of creating these programs, and at the same time recognizing these people with these values and cultures, in the sense that people would vote. People would recognize one another, share a feedback, and so on and so forth. And as a result of that, what would happen is you'd be collecting more or less like points, and whoever has collected, let's say, the most point in a quarter would be recognized or basically rewarded on one of these values that we hold in our organization. But that's one thing of looking at it. Again, if you remember in the presentation, culture is wrapped around everything that we do in that framework. You're gonna have a culture of learning. You're gonna have a culture of taking accountability, a culture of innovation. So these are basically in your DNA, in the DNA of the organization. And how can we basically represent them is through basically running programs for us to start, recognizing one another and opening the platform for one another to give feedback, recognize each other, and as a result, gamify it in a way or another by collecting points and voting or nominating, let's say, the best innovator for the quarter or for the year, for example.
Thank you so much, Samer. I'm not sure if there's any more questions. I'll look at the chat quickly here. There's a couple of thank yous. So on behalf of me and Samer, thank you for giving us this opportunity. I think we've covered all of them, and apologies if we didn't. And please, if we can have those questions circle back to me and Samer via email, we're more than happy to respond. Yeah, Samer, any final words from your end?
Again, thank you for giving me the opportunity to basically be with you today and share the knowledge and my experience using, let's say, the digital technologies and the digital experiences. And thank you, Ahmad, also for being there with me throughout this webinar. Waoud, we'll give it back to you. Any final words?
Thank you so much. Thank you to our speakers for your insightful and informative presentation. And thank you all for your participation and engagement. We look forward to seeing you at our upcoming sessions, where we will continue to explore new and emerging topics in the field of human resources. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you.